Now, everybody knows what chop and mitre saws do. Well, there are enough videos around about them and how they make precision, clean, straight cuts and compound mitres. But I think the real potential of the tool is underplayed. So I'm going to explore that in this video. Now, although I have a great little cordless compact chop saw that I can move around easily and use mainly for straight cuts, I've always resisted getting a sliding mitre saw simply because it takes up a lot of bench space, namely depth when it's in full travel mode. For over 50 years I've been using this radial arm saw for both ripping and cross-cutting, and it was only when I was approached by this company that I decided to explore the creative possibilities of a sliding mitre saw and see how well it can match my radial arm saw in cross-cutting applications. Oh, by the way, my name's Jeremy Broun, and that's what I do. I explore the creative possibilities of tools, machines and materials. So watch on if you are interested in designing what you make and want to learn some basics about designing in wood. Actually, what also interested me in this saw is it can cut different materials with its multi-purpose blade, and wow, what a clean cut. Again, in the past I have used a massive sturdy metal cutting saw, so I was intrigued to see how judder free and precise this tool would be for metals. So let's put this saw to use, and the first lesson in designing is to use standard sections of readily available materials. There's a whole range of joints that can be cut with this saw, and I'm going to focus on a simple halving joint and then a housed joint. Did you know that the halving joint is the strongest glued joint, much stronger than a mortise and tenon, as there is equal fibre overlap in both members? Check out my videos on gluing and the importance of fibre overlap, and forget those so-called myth-busting videos claiming that end grain is stronger than the side grain. Now, on this cordless version of this sliding mitre saw, I noticed a really great feature. A laser projected line shines onto the workpiece. So the first thing I'm doing is using some standard section softwood to make a combined spacer and end stop for cutting the halving joint. I'll use a hot melt glue gun to join the two pieces. I'm never without the hot melt glue gun for clamping, temporary bonding, etc. See my video about this versatile device. I seem to have shaky hands. I hope it's because of all that coffee I drink and not anything else. So it simply clamps into position. Now I'm marking out the joint, copying one width onto the other. Position the piece to the laser line. Laser guided woodworking, eh? The end stop piece needs a little adjusting. It's a very simple device, and I forgot to mention that the spacer is needed to ensure a flat cut is made without leaving the radius of the blade. Now to set the blade depth stop. So simple with its screw adjustment. Keeping fingers well away from the blade, start removing the stock in repeated saw cuts. You soon get the hang of it and get into a rhythm. For speed, you can cut narrow grooves and the short grain easily knocks off, but you'll need a chisel to trim the surface flat. I tend to prefer the slow way. You know, this is a very clean cut off this multi-material blade. Now you can see I was fractionally out, so I'll need to readjust the end stop. I'm kind of doing this as I go along, using wood I had readily at hand. Of course, the beauty of this jig is just one cut is repeatedly made into the spacer piece, and you can see the need for it by the radius cut that is made. And of course we don't want that on the joint. Now to cut the other half of the joint. Notice how I move my fingers carefully to feed the wood to the saw. And there we are, a halving joint, and once glued and clamped, makes the strongest glued joint there is. Write in the comments section if I'm wrong. So the next thing I'm doing is cutting the widest board possible on this particular saw. Oh, there's that shaky hand again. To think I illustrated all my woodworking books decades ago, I couldn't do that today. Now such wide softwood boards are likely to be slightly bowed, so put the concave surface down. You can see this particular standard width board is fractionally too wide for this saw, but it breaks away easily. Now I'm going to house in this piece of softwood, and the best way is to copy rather than measure for the cut. And I've run into problems. Whereas it cuts all the way through, it leaves radius cuts when trenching the surface, so I'm going to have to reduce the width to allow for a spacer by the fence. So I've reduced to the maximum width possible on this saw and have the spacer in place ready to cut the groove. The laser line is so quick and precise. Okay, that's a nice tight fit because I left the line on. I just need to cut it to length so you can see the joint flush, all ready for gluing. Well, of course, the saw is invaluable for quickly and precisely chopping off wood to length using different section wood. And of course this saw can be used for surface skimming, pre-sanding. Well, I hope you find this video inspiring, and please subscribe for more videos like this that explore the tools that are so accessible to us today. Thanks for watching. Be safe and have fun.